Hey folks, in this video you'll get to see a full 80 to 90 speedrun that I completed on the 12.0.7 PTR. If you haven't already heard, a lot of quests are getting massive buffs to their XP rewards in the upcoming patch. So I've been hard at work designing a new route for Follow the Arrow which incorporates all of these changes. The end result was this 1 hour and 38 minute run, which shaved off nearly 40 minutes from my previous record of 2 hours and 17 minutes. While this is already pretty fast, I actually think that with a few additional optimizations, I could have gotten the time down even lower. Also, later on in 12.0.7, we'll have access to an additional 30% XP buff from Turbulent Timeways, so I'll almost certainly beat this time once again in the coming months. With that being said, I want to give a few quick notes before we begin to provide additional context for the run. Normally, I like to do these overviews in real time before I enter the game, but that's one of the quirks about this particular speedrun. Every single day on the daily reset, the available delve stories will rotate, and some of them are much faster for leveling than others. The problem that I run into in setting up a speedrun is that not all of the best delve stories are available in the same daily rotation. Generally speaking, the best day to do your leveling is when the cycle containing the Calamitous story for Shadowguard Point is active. Many people already understand that you can spam this delve repeatedly to get a lot of mob kill XP, but I actually didn't do that during this run. Calamitous is just still very efficient compared to the other options for Shadowguard Point. Additionally, the other delves active on that particular day are usually pretty fast, with the sole exception being Parhelion Plaza. So, for this speedrun, I wanted to try performing it shortly before the daily reset occurred. I would start the run about 30 minutes before the reset on a Calamitous day, and I would do all the delves with fast stories on that particular rotation. Then, midway through the run, the reset would occur, and the delves would switch their variants, which would allow me to get the fastest possible clears for delves like Parhelion Plaza, all within a single speedrun. As you'll see, this actually worked out pretty well, but the one downside is that I had to start the run at a very specific time, which meant I wasn't able to do my traditional pre-run yap, which is why you have to listen to future Harldan this time around. It's also worth noting that, since I'm trying to test out the upcoming 12.0.7 changes, I had to do the speedrun on the PTR. Now, generally speaking, the time difference between the PTR and live servers is negligible. In this particular case, I actually lost a bit of time due to test server jank, and I will mention this throughout the run whenever it occurs. Also, while this should be fairly obvious to anyone familiar with optimal speed leveling, I am using the Darkwind Fair 10% buff, I have the 25% Warband Mentor bonus on my account, and I have War Mode enabled for most of the run, which gives me 15% additional experience outside of Silvermoon City. Lastly, I want to acknowledge that at a few points during the run, I'll ignore the instructions that I wrote within Follow the Arrow and do something a little bit different. I usually call attention to this whenever it occurs, and I try to explain why, but I figured it would be worthwhile to include a slightly more involved explanation here, as I received a lot of confused comments on the previous Guardian Druid speedrun asking why I would go to all this trouble to develop a leveling add-on if I'm not even going to use it myself. Now, the first and hopefully most obvious reason is that test speedruns like this need to happen first before I'm able to actually add the route into the add-on. By the time the patch is released on live servers, the alt route for Follow the Arrow will be fully up to date, and you'll be able to follow along with a route roughly resembling what I did in the speedrun. However, since I'm the one actually building the route, I have to do some tests without any guidance in order to determine what the best route actually is, so I can then include it within the add-on. I really would have thought this concept would be self-explanatory, but again, a lot of people in the last video used this as a point of criticism against the add-on, so apparently I do need to make that point a bit clearer. With that being said, I have always tried to explain that my guides will never one-to-one resemble the routes used for my speedrun, and this is by design. A lot of the strategies that I use in my runs are extremely complex, and they can't be easily copied by an inexperienced player. However, most of these complicated optimizations are extremely minor. I'll end up doing something that, let's say, saves about 30 seconds. This is massive in the context of a speedrun, but if I tried to recommend doing this trick to new players, they would likely get confused and then lose multiple minutes of time instead of just holding W. So generally speaking, I try to build routes for the add-on that are really easy to follow for new players, but are still incredibly fast, and that is the bulk of the time save that you'll get by using something like Follow the Arrow. But another thing that I want to draw attention to is that the new events that are being included as of 12.0.7 have a lot of variants. For example, South Earl Soiree is now always worth completing, but the exact quests that are available, as well as their locations, can vary wildly. In this run, I'll showcase what I believe to be a very optimal setup. I primarily end up using Blood Knights, but some players won't have access to these exact quests when they try to level their characters. For this reason, the implementation of Southrail Soiree in Fall the Arrow will be a little bit more freeform, and you'll be expected to do a little bit of thinking for yourself. God forbid, right? Now, I can't possibly account for every possible combination of quests that could both be active at once and be chosen by any other player. It's just way too much variance. So, in addition to this, the prey quests are now always worth doing alongside the rest of the leveling route. But the exact prey enemies that you get and their associated objectives will be randomized every single week, and in some cases, every single day. In this speedrun, I actually got really, really lucky. Most of the prey objectives just happened to overlap with the other things that I was already doing. I did not plan for this at all, and during all my testing, I actually got prey objectives in the middle of nowhere, so it was a bit harder for me to fill the bar and reach the final showdown. This is another case, though, where the add-on will provide you with a lot of important information, but then it'll be up to the player to look around and actually figure out how to best adapt to their current objectives. Now, in a few days, closer to the release of 12.0.7, I'll put out a much shorter standalone video that goes into detail on every single relevant leveling change and how it will be incorporated within Fall the Arrow. Hopefully I provided you with enough context in the meantime to follow along with this speedrun. Now, if I've missed any important details that you're still curious about, feel free to ask a question in the comments. I always read and answer every single one. But with that out of the way, we can cut back to Harldan in the present, and he'll give you a quick preamble before starting the timer and beginning the run. Alright, hello. So, one thing that you'll probably notice is that I am using a facecam in this speedrun. That is probably not normal if you haven't been actively watching a bunch of my streams. I have been using facecam recently on streams, though, and I think this is the first actual video, at least in a very long time, where I'm using it, so if that's news to you, then cool. Now, obviously, I usually like to do big preambles before these speedruns. You probably just got done listening to Future Harldan do a bit of like an early explanation of what this is, obviously PTR, etc. I am on a clock. I have 30 minutes to get like the first leg of the run done. I think I can do it, but it is going to be close. I'm going to minimize my OBS just so it's not distracting. And what else do I need to do? I'm going to get all my buffs rolling before I start. I think that's usually standard practice. I have an alchemical chaos here that I can use. So I have 30 minutes to get a lot of stuff done. We'll see. We'll see how much I can do. I'm just gonna... I got the Dark and Fair buff in advance, but I can clear that now. I've gotten... You can see my current item level. This is one of my characters from War Within. I think it's a copy of my monk circa, like, early MFO or something like that. Take a nice sip of coffee before I start. Get my Augment rune, and then we're going to run on top of Liadrin. And... I'm doing something complicated. So if you recall my previous Druid run, I had really long loading screens because it's the PTR. Now I did test that. It happened again. I found a way to fix it. I have a second instance of WoW running on this computer, my old computer, which I'm no longer using. And I basically got in the character setup. So before I start, I'm going to basically enter Harrandar on this account, load the zone in advance, that way I don't get the long loading screen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I need to make sure I do it correctly, though. So we're going to do, I'm using an NG wormhole, generate a wormhole to Harrandar. And then now that that is loading, I should be able to, we're going to start the run. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to start the timer, and then we're going to talk to Liadrin. Turn this in, and then I've heard this tale before. Alright, cool. Whew. This route, by the way, is going to be very complicated, and while I probably explained this a little bit before starting, although looks like nobody was in Silvermoon, so that might take a little bit to load. We're going to pick up Eversong. I am using my add-on here, of course, but there are a few slight differences. Now, by the time that you're doing this run, when the patch comes out, you will have the add-on fully up to date with everything that you need. But I need to take a few liberties here. Some of it is just for speedrun purposes. Some of it is 12.0.7 stuff that I just haven't included in the route yet. Right now I'm just using the route as you know it. There are a few changes, though. You may notice that the arrow is a little bit different. Okay, Harrandar is loaded. I also got a really lucky spawn for my warrior. It's very close to where I need to be. And then we're going to teleport to Harrandar, and then now I'm going to Hearthstone on my warrior, because I need it to activate a different area. All right, yeah, you can see really fast teleport there. It was really, really, really frustrating for me. I got so many comments in that Druid run telling me like all these different hardware issues that I can, address to make it work properly. And I don't know how many comments I ended up responding to, basically explaining to every single person, I talked about this in the run. It is not a hardware issue. It is just a PTR issue. And I have confirmed multiple times that that is exactly what it is. And hopefully now, if you were one of those people who for some reason thought that I had like a really crappy computer that, it's not even like, oh no, my computer's great. How dare you say my computer's bad? It's just really frustrating having so many people confidently tell you that they know the solution to your problem when they are just dead wrong. They just have no idea what's going on. And I even mentioned it, but hey, here. What can you do? All right. So this is one of the new things that we're doing in 12.0.7. A lot of people know that the Delves are getting buffed. That's been one of the big talking points, like, oh man, Delver's Call is getting like a massive XP boost. And it is. That is obviously just a flat, massive boost to the existing route as it already was. But they also buffed all of these other weeklies. Now, initially, I remember saying I was a little bit unsure whether or not this would be good enough to actually justify including. Turns out, actually, almost all of it is. The only thing that I'm not including, actually, I guess it's Void Assaults. Void Assaults are really, really, really bad. They also got buffed. They are still really, really, really bad. It does not matter whether or not they give more XP now. Now, something else that you're going to see me do here, which technically has always been a thing, but this is when I say, like, the speedrun route is a little bit different than the normal route. I'm talking about things like this. This daily quest changes. On some days, there's 3 of them. Why? I have no idea. Some days, there's just 3 dailies where there should only be 1. And this is basically 3 really quick back-to-back wanted quests. So when it happens to be one of those days, where all of them are active, it is absolutely worth going out of your way to do this. Shit. Stuns. Did I? I did, okay. I remembered to switch my trinkets. I have to actually loot these mobs. And this is the kind of thing where I can't really route this into Follow the Arrow. I think now that you're technically doing a little bit more in Harrandar anyway because of the Legends of the Heronir and going to pick up Alnara's Bloom, I think it's probably worth it for me to include at least a mention here. Check to see if the triple quest is active. If it is, do it. If not, don't worry about it. It's not worth it. But obviously, that is really good XP. That it was 66k XP for less than a minute, I think. Also, I am well aware that, like, my head is kind of blocking the timer. I tried to get it perfect, but, like, my camera's a little bit off. The point is, the timer will still be there, and you can kind of make out, like, oh, that's probably a 4. It's mostly there just for, like, for record keeping, right? It's, obviously I want to have the timer on there. But I'm trying out, doing this. Yeah, Delves also have been really slow to load on the PTR. I think I already have my Valera automatically set up, right? Yeah. That's one nice thing about doing this now, compared to when I initially did it, is my Valera progress was not copying onto beta, where I did some of my initial tests. But here it does work. Now, Valera, though, despite my Valera being max level, is basically worthless. There's a reason why I'm not using damage Valera, and she's dead. That is why you don't use Valera. She is honestly completely useless. I put her on healer, that way she will sometimes generate, like, low enough threat to where she won't instantly die, but most of the time, she just dies anyway. So, I don't know. There's really no good way to use Valera while leveling. The problem with that especially is I've seen some people try to use tank Valera while leveling, and of course what they don't realize is that tank Valera, you have to rely on her. Like, that's kind of the entire point. And she's still going to instantly die, while also doing basically no damage. So, it is absolutely not worth it. Valera is not something that you can ever really rely upon. Like, look at how quickly she's dying. It makes absolutely no sense. Okay, we can... this is... this stuff. We need to clear the mushrooms, and then I want to quickly attack one of them so I can get Touch of Death on cooldown, but we don't get the insta-kill just yet. So I'm going to get it down here. Then we Todd. For some reason, despite having less health than me, that didn't instantly die. Whatever. Grudge Pit is definitely one of the slower delves. The way I've set this up, though, I'm sure I explained this in the preamble, I guess, for lack of a better descriptor. I have basically done it so on the Calamitous Day, that's where I'm starting. So that is what most of my delves are going to be. And it's still worth it to do Harrandar first on this day, because it just flows better, and also Almoth Munchies, the Gulp of Memory one, is really fast. Right, this one. So I want to do as many of this as I can. Moldering Fighter. Also, you may notice I have Reshi Wraps. The nice thing about Reshi Wraps is it's actually very easy to get on alts. You can just pop into Koresh and grab it. So, something that actually did not occur to me until kind of just like a month ago or so, is that even on alts that you never played when it was current content in War Within, if you actually played War Within and you have the Reshi Wraps unlocked, you can just pop into Koresh, instantly do the skip, go all the way over there, get a fully upgraded Reshi Wraps for free on that brand new alt. Like, the skip still works perfectly fine. It takes less than a minute, and then that is the only cloak that you'll ever need to use. And obviously, it's really good. So, there are definitely some things that I do for my speedruns that I know, you know, people say, like, oh, this isn't accurate to, like, what most people do. Where's the final one? It says it's right here. I just couldn't see it. But I wanted to at least call attention to that, because that's something I think a lot of people may think, oh, well, my alt doesn't have Reshi Wraps. It can. You just need to make sure you go actually grab it. There's also kind of a weird thing that I'm going to have to deal with as we go, where I really want to hit level 81 so I can get my crafted gear equipped. Okay. And barely fell short of killing that. I'm going to loot this because there is a chance that you can get a trinket, which would be really good. I didn't get one, that's fine. And then I'm going to use my Hearthstone to go back to the den. And initially, when I was, like, theory crafting a route, I was thinking, oh, I can make it so right at the start of the run, I grab the level 80 BOEs in Harrandar and Voidstorm. And to my surprise, Blizzard decided that they were going to nerf the BOEs, and now they require level 81, the ones that you buy off, like, the Quartermaster down there. And to make matters worse, at first I was like, alright, well, I'll still do that. I'll grab them at level 81, but then I just, you know, won't use it until, what's it called? Until I hit that level, but I'll grab it immediately. You can't even purchase it until you're 81, for some reason. I don't know why. It is quite frustrating, is what it is, though. And now I need to get ready to move... Ah, shit. I was going to have my warrior preload Voidstorm. The thing about Voidstorm, though, is I've never had Voidstorm take a really long time to load. Something with Harrandar causes it to bug out, and, like, the initial loading process is really slow. I haven't run into that issue with any other zone. So as long as I didn't have, like, another 30-second load screen, I'm kind of fine. And the other issue is I really need my warrior to keep something in Eversong Woods active. You'll see when we get there. Basically, on live servers, when you do South Earl's Soiree, which obviously you're going to include in the run, like, it's really, really, really efficient, the advantage to doing it on live servers is you can just pop over as somebody else is already doing it, tag the final boss, and you get full credit. That's all you need to do to complete it. Now, I want to make this as accurate as possible to live servers, but the irony of this run is that a lot of times in the PTR you get advantages, right? You know, empty servers and stuff like that. I actually have more disadvantages to deal with in this PTR run than I think any other PTR run I've had. And I've had to do things like, you know, preload the zones on an alt so I don't get stuck in a massive loading screen. But I also pre-cleared the entirety of the Soiree, like, runestone defense and got to the final boss. But what I found is that if the server resets, if I do all that and then I walk away and Blizzard, like, unloads the zone, my progress is lost. So right now my warrior is parked somewhere in Eversong Woods because I've already pre-completed that. I'm hoping it still works. I haven't actually had time to confirm that it, like, stays loaded in forever, but I suspect it would. I don't see why it wouldn't. And, like, worst case scenario, if it doesn't, then, like, yeah, whatever. I have to do it anyway, and it would still be worth it to clear it. So either this is a shortcut that I can benefit from, or I just eat a time loss because it's the PTR. I would still want to do it regardless, though, because, again, I want to simulate what real people would do on the live servers, and on the live servers, it's just lightning fast. You'll never need to rely on, like, pre-setting it up. Other people will do that for you, because other people will be doing the weekly. Alright, we're going to get through this one pretty quick. All Enough Munchies is definitely... It's a weird delve. I think it's definitely not the fastest Gulf of Memory variant, but it's still pretty fast, and I think, like, Sporosaur Special is probably a little bit faster, but you kill less mobs. So this is one of those where, like, the time difference is not that significant to where the extra mob kill XP doesn't, you know, kind of make up for that. Because mob kill XP, I mean, it matters. Every little bit counts. Is that enough? No, that's awkward. And I can't Todd this because I need that for the boss. Alright. Try and get up here without accidentally rolling off the side. That would be quite bad. Now I'm probably... this extra action button does damage still, by the way. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it is enough to where it is worth pressing. There we go. Didn't kill for some reason. Alright, let's see. Do I get a trinket? I do not. That's fine. I use our Cantina key here. Okay, this one is complicated. This is a new change to the route, and I need to make sure I don't fuck this up. Our Cantina loading screen might be a little bit slow, because obviously I haven't preset this up. Nobody's been here, but again, worst case will be like 10 seconds. Yeah. So, obviously, if I wanted to get like an ultra super duper fast run on the PTR, I would have to preload every single zone. I don't really care all that much. It is what it is. I've accepted the fact that it's just going to be a little bit slower. I'm going to end up doing, I'm going to do a live server run at some point when Turbulent Timeways is active. So this is mostly just to demonstrate the changes to the route in 12.0.7 in like a mostly efficient way, while also, Woodstorm, yeah. While also still trying to get like, you know, a good time. But I'm going to smoke this time anyways with the 30% buff. So it's kind of whatever. Okay, we have 15 minutes. I think I'm going to barely make it in time. So that works. That is fine. Alright, come on. I don't want to, like, hit it a second time and potentially, like, glitch out the game. But, okay. It would have worked. We're going to get the Valera buff. Okay. And do I... Yeah, I need to speak to this NPC. This is definitely the fastest Collegiate Calamity variant. It's, I don't know. Invasive Glow is pretty fast. But, this one, I think, is probably slightly faster when done correctly. Alright, we need to run over here. I'm going to just round up as many mobs as I can. Get all those. Valera's making it a little bit harder to round up mobs, but thankfully she is dead, so it should be fine. I also just realized I do not have... Shit, I broke the combo. Is my step process too fast? I do not have my personal resource display enabled, which I would like to have. But it's fine. Let's go options, combat, personal resource display. Okay. I can also turn on my damage meter, but I think by default that would also just go directly below where my camera is. It doesn't really matter for the purposes of this anyway. Come on. Alright. Another thing, by the way, that makes it really slow for me on the PTR is you may be surprised that I'm not one-shotting most mobs with the gear that I have. There is a scaling aura. I am set to item level 80 right now. So the bulk of this run takes place in Delves, and consider the fact that this is the item level... Oh my god, I fucked up. Okay, it's fine because I'm a Windwalker monk. That I've never actually... That is so unlucky. Yeah, actually, I lose very little time, thankfully, because Windwalker monk. You're supposed to run along the rooftop here and then drop down. But obviously, having whatever that is, rushing wind, lighter than air, is really, really, really nice. And I was able to recover pretty well. Fuck it. I'm gonna Todd just because the time that I'll save from the boss will be less than the time I'll save from the roleplay. Now, this should probably get me to level 81, I think. If not, it's gonna be really close. Yeah, not having Todd for the boss sucks, but, like, what are you gonna do? Very minor difference in the end. That is unfortunate, but I can adapt. How do I want to adapt? I can't do Darkway yet. I don't have time for Darkway. Voidstorm first. Okay, yeah, I'll have to do this. Yeah, this should be fine, because, yeah, I hit 81, I think, from the Exploration XP into Voidstorm. That works. Okay, I'm gonna have to ignore Fall the Arrow for a little bit, because I'm doing things very out of order compared to what I'm supposed to, air quotes, supposed to do. Okay, bought the gloves. Then we get that quest. And then all I'm going to do is just go to Harrandar and buy the belt. I think it is worth it to have that little bit of extra item level. It will speed this up, for sure. I need to fuck this up. I'm going to just close this for now because the arrow is freaking out. It doesn't know what I'm doing. Alright, and then at some point, while flying, I'm not going to do that here because I will hit a root and I will lose time if I try to do that here. While flying, I need to equip this stuff. I need to pick up a Born Killer. I'm trying to go off memory here. So, I mean, I do remember this pretty well. Actually, while I do this, now I'm going to get Fall the Arrow set up. Okay, yeah. That's the lovely thing about the add-on that I've built. It adapts even if I fall a little bit behind, as long as I get to the correct step, it knows what to do. Lovely. Alright, do this. Then we're going to swoop in here, get credit for that, and then we're going to head over here, we're going to do Sunkiller Sanctum, and I can equip this, I can equip this, I'll do that later, equip this, not that. I don't know why I brought that along. Evercore Shades. Yeah, I forgot that I wasn't using, that. I can equip the engineering stuff while I wait. I have buffs that I can use now. It is really just that, because the other buffs I'm already using. Okay. I'm gonna do this. Huh? Oh, I don't have highlighting turned on. I was wondering if I forgot to enable an objective, but no. It is working. I don't have the usual highlight. Good thing I remember where everything is. So it's definitely easier to do when you're used to that. You can roll in midair. Okay, that actually makes that part a lot easier. We're gonna do this, and so the nice thing about this is the only delve that I absolutely need to make sure I get done on this daily reset is still Calamitous. And I only have 9 minutes left, but all I need to do is enter it. So I have 9 minutes to do everything leading up to it, and then enter the delve. And worst case scenario, if I'm, like, running a little bit behind, and I think it's going to hit the daily reset, then I can enter it a little bit early, and it won't actually fuck up the routing. Like, it's still perfectly fine. If I do it slightly out of order, just to make sure that I get Calamitous. Okay, that's a Todd. I really want to make sure that that's the one I have. Okay, then we're going to do, I guess, a mid-air roll, because apparently I can do that, which is sick. And By mid-air roll, I'm specifically talking about, like, while in the gravity field. I want to make it clear that, like, I know that you can roll mid-air. It's just that, that suppresses a lot of movement abilities. Like, you can't charge while in that little gravity field. It doesn't let you do that, which makes a lot of classes much slower. Hello? Okay, it's trying to click on the one in front of me. We're gonna do this, and then I think it'll be faster if I go up there, because the mobs here are weaker. I'm gonna save a Zenith for the boss. Yeah, because I can just do this. And then we go nice through the wall. Perfect. And I have Touch of Death ready to go. Nice. That felt pretty fast. I mean, there's a reason why I really like to do delves on this day. Okay, we're gonna leave delve. I did not get a trinket. If I don't get a trinket, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm gonna make sure my warrior doesn't log out. Gotta keep Eversong open. And I should have time to do these quests, I think. Yeah, we go over here. These aren't too long. I did remember to pick up the Voidstorm Prey. It resets? Oh, okay, that's awkward. I did not realize that it reset on the daily reset. That is... It's fine, honestly. That just means I do, like, a tiny bit of extra quests in Eversong. Prey is really, really, really weird. We'll see if it actually, like, forces me to stop doing this. It does still work here in this part of Voidstorm. I wasn't sure if this would actually count. But it does. Okay, we'll do this. Now, the way that you want to handle Prey as part of leveling is you don't actually want to go out of your way to do it. You get ambushed. You can see there, I got ambushed while I was already fighting mobs that I would have pulled anyway. I just quickly blast the Prey in my cooldowns, I do the riposte, and then I don't think about it at all. Now, the fact that it resets in the daily reset is awkward. We'll see if that actually does screw me over a little bit. If so, it's fine. I can just abandon the Voidstorm one. The only Prey that I am 100% sure it is worth it to do is Eversong. Because you're going to spend a lot of time in Eversong. You will, by the time you're done with that zone, fill the bar. Like, almost certainly. There's more than enough time to get that done. As for... I need to do a big pull here. Why is that not working? Okay. And then, let's go over here. Okay, I'm gonna... I see. This should be fine. What am I looking at? 24 minutes? Okay. Yeah, this seems about what I expected. And then I missed one of these things right here, and then that's all of them. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Prey. After I do this chain, then I'm going to go over there and do Shadowguard points. Or, yeah, it is Shadowguard point. And... that should be fine. I think. We'll see. Normally I do the quests outside Shadowguard Point beforehand, but it doesn't really matter in this case, because provided Prey doesn't reset, I would want to finish the Prey anyway. Right, yeah, I need to do this first. So, do this. I'll fly over here. This is... Insta-Todd, alright. Okay, yeah, so once I've equipped all this gear, now with the scaling, my Todd is really, really, really strong. So I don't even need to do anything special. Oh my god. It's like phasing me in and out, so I'm losing all my momentum every time it like phases me, because it's lagging slightly. Okay, I have to enter Calamitous now. Yeah. Normally I would do this at the end, but especially with the way that I've changed the route to account for Prey, This won't really make that much of a difference. And honestly, it wouldn't really make that much of a difference anyways. It's very easy to just leave the delve, and then you could do the Arcantina key after. So we've made it to my goal. I can take a little bit of a sigh of relief. My warrior is still holding down the fort in Eversong. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do to help preload the delves. I guess I could enter them on tier 1 on multiple characters. I assume the way that delves work, the fact that they are affected like this, they are probably also their own separate instances that just have, like, different copies, but Blizzard has to spin up a brand new, like, iteration of the delve to get, like, all the other ones working. I don't know. That's the only explanation I can think of to why the delves actually have their own loading screen. Now, I'm not going to do the full gigantic pull for Calamitous here. I'm just going to do the robots. So we're going to do this. But it is still worth it to do the main robots there. You may as well. You have to do pull here at the start, regardless, so you may as well make it count. Fuck, I keep hitting the wrong key. Keep hitting the wrong key again. I'm very nervous, I should note. This is... In case it isn't clear already, my route was already very complicated. Integrating things like Prey and, as you'll see, Abundance very shortly, I mean, it's a nightmare to keep track of all of this. This is why, also, I'm sure I mentioned this in the start, you know, people wonder why not, like, set the add-on up first. How would I get this working in the add-on to a degree where it would, like, meaningfully help me during the speedrun? It's already so hard to keep track of everything in my head, and this is all, like, theoretical, right? And sometimes, literally, like, an hour or two before I recorded this run, I did a test run, and some of the stuff that I was initially planning to do, I did a test run and I realized, oh shit, this doesn't work. One of the big ones that forced me to redo the routing is, like, picking up the level 80 gear from the renown vendors. So I had to fundamentally change the routing as a result of that, and... It's, like, imagine if I had already went in and coded that entire route, and then after I've already coded it, I'm like, oh shit, this doesn't work, then I have to go back and change the code, which, like, I can do, but it's like, that would be so much wasted time, when I could instead just theorycraft the route in my head, then do a test run, and, like, this is the test run you're seeing, and this is only, like, the second test run, this is the first real test run, where I actually try and sit down and do the entire thing start to finish. The alternative... is I do this, right? And then I just don't record it. And I just get a really good run, and then just don't share it with anybody until I've already made the add-on, and then already done another run after that, which, like, that's ridiculous, right? I'm not doing that. So, this is unfortunately the way that I have to go about it. But, I don't know. I think it could also be kind of interesting to see, like, the in real-time problem-solving process, because it is not easy to theorycraft all this stuff. Okay, it's one of the nice things about Calamitous. You also get all these mobs that you can get decent mob kill XP from. I'm gonna, now that I've finished the objective, though, I'm gonna run to the boss. Some of these will follow me, but it's more important that I kill this guy really quickly. And because of the scaling penalty from Blizzard, I can't one-shot this guy in here, but I can do this, and then hopefully okay. The damage penalty from that channel kind of fucked me a little bit. I actually did just get a really good trinket. I can't do that while jumping or falling. I can't do that right now because I'm stuck in combat. If you're far enough away from mobs that are fighting you, you can leave early. Unfortunately, could not. Now I should be able to. Yeah, alright, cool. Overall, pretty fine. Okay, and now, one of the nice things is because I have my European account now, I can very easily tell which delves are going to be active. So as my prey... Okay, my prey isn't reset. Wow, that's actually really lucky that it's right there. My prey is not reset, it's just the world quest resets. That's actually completely fine. That actually honestly kind of worked out. Alright, we're gonna do Abundance, we're going to talk to you, Harvest, and then... That doesn't kill me, right? Yeah. Terrifies me doing that jump in all the testing I've done for this, but it doesn't kill you, so it's fine. Now, I'll be honest, I very rarely do the Voidstorm Abundance, so I have no idea if there's a more efficient path to take. One of the nice things, though, is I did test it. You only get progress for the quest when you exit the finalized scenario. Like, you have to actually finish the entire thing. So I experimented with, like, trying to quickly hit 2k abundance, or whatever it is, and then after I hit the amount, like, just leave early, just so I can turn in the quest faster. That doesn't work. So as long as abundance is worth doing, which I've tested enough to say, like, yeah, 3 minutes for what is effectively a bonus Delver's Call quest. Like, that Delve Calamitous, I don't think that was 3 minutes, right? That was probably a little bit longer. But it's about the speed of a Delve. Now, Delver's Call does give more XP than this now, but this is basically like an old Delver's Call quest for 3 minutes. Like, yeah, that's worthwhile, in my opinion, at least. So, I think it's worth including Abundance, and as long as I do this well enough to do it all in one go, and not have to do it a second time, which would be disastrous, then we're fine. And I've done this one enough to where I have a decent strategy figured out for it, and I was able to, over multiple attempts, consistently get to the full score. So I think I'm probably fine. Up here. I'm kind of nervous, though, because I do need to... I have no way to really track that I know of how much abundance I've gotten until the run ends, at least for the purposes of the score. Because it is very unreliable, in my experience, what it actually tells you you have versus what it says you get at the end. So I'm just trying to do as much as I possibly can. That way there is no chance that I fuck it up. Right. Do this. Having Reshi Wraps for those, like, damage procs. Honestly, for a non-DPS, it probably won't matter quite as much. But, I mean, it's still a really good cloak to have, no matter what. Let's grab all this stuff. Get this. This definitely feels like it's enough. Get whatever I can. Tell me it's enough. It is enough. Alright. We're not going to turn this in, though. One of the cool things about Abundance is it also functions like all the Delver's Calls, where you can wait until the very end to turn it in. I'm going to grab easy traps like that, just because at this point it does seem like we'll be able to finish the prey as planned. So I can just make sure that I actually get that done. The fact that I get... This gives XP, by the way. It doesn't give... world quests in general don't give full quests worth of XP. But the fact that this directly overlaps... it's honestly going to be a little bit awkward, because this is the one where there's, like, all the patrols and whatnot. And I'm going to have to make sure that I do the quest here already, while looking out for it. I did not plan for this to overlap as well as it did, by the way. That is quite lucky. I'm kind of... You know I didn't plan for it, considering it only popped up after the reset. That is just one of those... The game feels bad for making my life a living hell with the PTR and whatnot. And it's throwing me a bone here. Make sure my warrior doesn't... DC. Okay, so how do I want to do this? I need to not let that hit me. It wouldn't really be a big deal. It would just make it so... Oh, I am ambushed in the middle of this goop. That is actually not good. That is bad. Never mind. I kind of just killed them all. I think Touch of Karma made that a lot easier. Yeah, I'm definitely... I'm kind of dying a little bit here. Okay, we're fine, we're fine. I'm just gonna slam a health pot. This thing's right here. This is also, by the way, like, how would I ever possibly account for this in Fall the Arrow? Obviously, you're going to want to do Prey, no matter what, but how would I integrate Prey cleanly into Follow the Arrow, other than what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to have, like, a big explanation section, where it's like, here's all the things you need to keep in mind, and then it is on you, as you run through it, to make judgment calls and kind of adapt your personal run on the fly, depending on what Prey objectives and stuff you get. It's just so random that I can never account for that. I need to basically tell you the gist of it, and then you have to figure out the specifics. Which, I mean, honestly, though, I feel like that leveling is always more fun when you actually have to use your brain. Well, I think that, or I would be the one writing the guides, but I guess a lot of people use my guides, so they want to use their brain as little as possible, which, like, you know, I get it. But sometimes, like, I can't do everything. There's, certain things that the player will have to figure out on their own. I need one more pedal. Where might I find that? There we go. Not having my... I think that's outline mode that I just don't have enabled. I'm not in combat. And then I could probably turn this in. And then I should be fine. Do I need to rebuff at all? A good opportunity to rebuff would actually be right here. So I need to wait on this roleplay, so I may as well do that at some point. And then... Oh, shit, I messed this up, actually. Not a big deal, but I have to administer the antidote first, and then the roleplay happens. In that case, while I wait, I will clear my bags. And also equip... Do I want to equip this just yet? I don't think I want to just yet. Yeah, because in war mode, the benefit of this is actually really good. But it is nice to at least have a good trinket, because when I'm in delves, that actually will be a lot more beneficial. Okay, now I have these quests, so I saw that the other parts of this Prey objective were overlapping here, so I'm going to try and knock them out. Oh yeah, that actually lines up perfectly. Let's do... Yeah, nice, I didn't hit the Pestilent Ooze. And then I can do this. How am I looking on time? 38 minutes. That's one of the other things that's going to be a little bit hard to figure out with this. You do a lot more stuff in the lead up. So, to give you an idea of what this is going to look like, you skip the final 5 levels now. That's how crazy this end segment is. It's a lot. So, it's going to look like, wow, this is really slow. You're getting, like, no experience. Not necessarily with this route, but I've had some people misunderstand that. There's been a few people who've told me that they know faster ways to get from level 10 to 20 compared to my runs, and I try to explain to them that, like, in the first, like, 5 to 10 levels, I am doing, like, a lot of setup. Like, there's a lot of time where I'm basically gaining no experience because I'm basically setting something up for either, like, 30 minutes later or, like, Darkwind Fair buffs, getting that set up. That takes time, and you're not gaining experience, but obviously it is worth it to do that. Okay, I do not have the Prey active yet. There's a chance I get another ambush, so I'm not going to go out of my way to do anything extra until then. Do this. Collect Void Essence. Yeah, that's fine. That's really unfortunate getting stuck in combat. I'm on top of a trap. I may as well pick it up. Okay, Follow the Arrow wants me to get Essence here. Now, I know for a fact that I can get Essence during the next quest, too. And actually, oh, that's... I'm kind of glad that I forgot I coded it like that, where it tells you to do that, but then it doesn't stop you if you're one short. It will let you override it, and it won't hold you hostage on that step, so that is good. I'm going to just do one more big pull here. I'm hoping that I get ambushed. Worst case it is, mob kill XP, right? I didn't, but we get our last essence for Born Killer. The Prey is ready almost any second now, so... Come on. There we go. And please tell me I got lucky. He's right. It is right there. There's no way. Alright, that is a little bit insane for luck. Goes to show, though, Prey can be really good if you get, like, extremely lucky. Definitely worth including for leveling. I didn't even know this was a Prey location. I've never gotten this one before. That's wild. Can I just Todd? I can just Todd. Alright, fucking Child's Play. I tried to loot the mob. I almost clicked the portal to Silvermoon. That would have been, it would have been bad. Honestly, would not have been the worst thing ever, though. Okay, let's... You know what? I should have taken Zenith Stomp. Honestly, it's fine. I've already done Shadowguard points. What I am going to do, though, is... This is correct, right? I can now take the portal. I forgot about the portal. If I had remembered that, I would have actually done the turn in first, then gone back. Lost, like, I don't know, 10 seconds travel time, if that. Alright. And the nice thing about this is we can immediately go ahead and pick this up. Now we're going to do Eversong Woods. Am I missing anything? No. No. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I need to do? Because obviously, Follow the Arrow is telling me, like, I've done everything I can go now, right? But there's a lot of, like, adapting that I need to do. I think I've done everything, though. I'm pretty sure it's fine. You're gonna get to see my warrior. There's my warrior. Actually, I need to make sure I don't auto-attack my warrior. So, yeah. Want to make sure I don't accidentally click on that. I'm going to walk in here. This is something I know I need to do. I need to set my Hearthstone here. You'll see how that's relevant soon. And then I forgot to pick this up. Honestly, fine, though. Didn't really lose any time. Okay. Honestly, okay, we'll do that afterwards. There's a big cluster actually right here. That's perfect. Do I get all three? I barely missed that one. It's fine, though. Something you can do here, you can interact with this, then hit stop casting. So that is, you type /stop casting, all one word, and it cancels that thing, so you can immediately remount. I have it macroed, so it just types that in chat. So I can do that without having to manually type it, but it is worth doing. Saves a lot of time on this quest. And now we're going to... Okay, I'm just gonna let the arrow update properly so I don't need to deal with it being behind. I did that out of order, that's on me. Okay, I forgot I already... That's... Sure. And then we need to do Lynxes. I need 2 more. Nice! Already got an ambush. I can just Todd this, right? Yes. Oh, I accidentally hit drums. Alright, well that's whatever. There should be, yeah, a little blood globule. Then we're going to do this. Okay. And then head over here, do Sharp Maw. So that's the thing, right? Like, Eversong is... We already got enough progress in Voidstorm to get credit for the prey. Eversong is such a gigantic zone. Pretty much entirely, just by doing ambushes, you should be able to get credit for the prey. So, like, I saw a lot of people debating on, like, whether or not prey is, like, fast enough to justify doing... Well, you can't spam it. You can only do those 4. So, if you can just do it entirely passively, as you do other activities, it is basically a free 100k XP. The way that you should think about it is, think of it as a quest that rewards 100k XP that just requires you to kill a singular mob. We already do wanted quests that give 20k XP. That's considered to be efficient. So 100k XP is, like, really, really, really good. The amount of downtime that you lose having to, like, fight the prey ambushes is next to nothing. So, if it can overlap, then it's just really, really, really efficient. And let's drop off here. Missing... How many light worms? Okay, this is enough. Get 1 more for good measure, just because that gives me more mob kill XP. Never hurts. It's not a lot, but it all adds up. Alright, do this. I have 14 minutes. What do I still need? I need to trap the Lynx. Right. Alright. See? Okay, we're going to fly over here, turn this in. This... When I get a chance, I should also... I'm actually going to use Arcantina key on my warrior. That way the next time I get to the Arcantina, I will already have it preloaded. Okay, I'm going to pick Magisters. The initial quest gives you a little bit of XP. Then I'm going to go over to Blood Knights. I will talk more about these choices in a little bit. This doesn't matter, by the way. Technically, you don't need to do any of this. This is all of them, right? Yeah. And then we go over to, where's, yeah, Magisters is here. Do this, get the Magisters quest. Okay. So, the only thing that matters for South Earl Soiree that, like, you really need to make sure you do is the Runestone quest. That is very critical. That is, like, it's the same no matter which one you pick. All of them give the exact same reward for that. So, in some ways, your choice here doesn't matter at all. However, what you'll notice is I just picked up 2 quests from Blood Knights that require me to chastise 8 Tideborn and pick up Tideborn doubloons, which drop off these mobs. Now, if you already know how this route goes, you'll know we do these quests anyway. This is already part of the alt route. So there's 2 bonus quests from the Blood Knights that directly overlap with the existing route. That is just extremely good. That is, like, really, really worthwhile. Technically, that has always been a thing, and I was already considering including this in an updated version of the route, and then Blizzard just made it so the Runestone quest got massively buffed. So I was like, alright, well, definitely including it now. The problem with this is some weeks, these are the available Blood Knight quests. Now, every single faction has, like, a limited pool of quests that it can choose from. So you'll never be able to get these quests from anything other than Blood Knights. And in my experience, Blood Knights kind of just across the board have the best quests, so you're always going to want to pick them up. Either they are completely free, they directly overlap part of the campaign. You also notice there's one down here, kill a single mob directly along the campaign route. That's just really, really, really good. Okay, we're going to... What am I missing? I have both of them, right? Oh, yeah, I'm just... I don't know why I was slow to process that. So, either it is directly overlapping the existing campaign route, or it is, like, a very, very minor detour that is extremely fast to complete. So, Blood Knights, in my opinion, is just really good. And for speedruns, you're almost always going to want to pick them. Here's the problem. The choice is not character-specific. It is account-wide. So, if somebody is trying to unlock the, like, the cosmetics or whatever for Magisters, then presumably they would want to pick Magisters. And if the speedrun guide tells them, hey, you should pick this one because it's slightly faster for leveling, they're going to say, well, fuck that. I want to get my cosmetics. I don't want to waste my reputation for the week. So, obviously for a speedrun, I'm going to pick what's fastest. I normally picked Blood Knights anyway. I also just like the Blood Knight stuff more, so it kind of works out well for me. But I am not going to include that in Follow the Arrow. I will put a note. I will explain this in the add-on and basically say, if you're going for speed, pick Blood Knights and then usually Farstriders. In my experience, Farstriders more often than not has the better choices. In this particular case, I chose to go with... right, because it's not... I was wondering why I couldn't see the crates. They're not highlighted because I don't have outline mode turned on. I wish I realized that. It's making my life a little bit difficult here. But it's fine. Sometimes there's a quest that overlaps this area to kill the Naga. There's a bunch of ones that are really good. Farstriders has a few quests that overlap with some of the side quest chains that we do in the eastern end of the zone, which is why I usually do those. And in this case, Magisters, most Magisters quests I've done are not fast. This week just so happens to have one of the few Magisters quests as one of the really, really good ones. It's also kind of inconsistent, because there are some times where the order in which you spend your favor will make a difference. Where the very first quest that you'll get if you spend a favor is the one that gives you the really good bonus. And then there are other times when it's like the third quest that you get. So you would have to like invest an extra amount of like South Earl's favor into getting the correct pick. It's weird how it works. And all of those side quests, by the way, just give a regular quest's worth of experience. Now, that's still good, right? If it's completely free XP, if it directly overlaps the route, that's free. We love that. But is it so critical that if you don't do it, you're, like, falling behind the route or whatever? No, it really does not matter all that much. I believe it's not this one. Fuck, it is this one. I always can't remember. Whatever. Just kill these mobs. I need to get this out of my face. But I'd have to unfuck my UI for that to happen. Okay, let me make sure my warrior doesn't AFK out. Get this. I thought I used the arcane timepiece. I guess maybe it resets if you go too far away. Let's quickly get this. Ambushed. Alright, perfect. And we'll TOD that, loot the objective, and then... Shit, I accidentally hit that mob. Should be fine. And then we just need to do this here. This here. And then we turn this in. Then we do this quest. Also, another thing is... I was a little bit on the fence about whether to include the quest where you have to wait on the roleplay to get the dog. And a bunch of people have, like, thought... Oh, fuck. I got a little bit ahead of myself. Forgot to actually pick up the quest. Lost a little bit of time here. That's fine. Here. While I wait, there was... I can check my Prey Seeker box. Also, there was something I needed to do. Armor kits. Yes. I need to apply that. Check that. Reapply that. What else? Reuse flask. Really long respawn time. I kind of fucked myself with this. I mean, I'm losing barely any time, but it's still annoying that it's like this long of a wait. God damn. Okay. I almost want to just leave, because this is really, really, really unfortunate that this random quest mob has such a long respawn. I'm gonna look for, yeah, just kill a rare. Rares don't really give great XP, but, I mean, it's either this or I sit here and wait. Yeah, they don't give a full quest, it's like a tiny little bit. I got a trinket, though, which, I will hold on to. I can equip that the next time I enter Delves to get slightly better scaling. Alright, and then we do this. Now, I was gonna say, the dog quest can be good for, like, clearing out your bags and stuff like that, but I did just kind of do that because I fucked up. But I'm gonna do it anyway. The unfortunate thing is you can't just run away and do other things while you wait. I'm gonna do this. Fuck it, I'll do it anyway. I need to clear out my bags a little bit regardless. It probably doesn't matter all that much, but I'd like to just not have to worry about having lots of clutter. Yeah, actually I don't need any of this stuff. All I really need is... I can vendor that too. Void Reaper's Librum as a replacement for when I do Delves will be good. But yeah, this quest is nice just because a lot of times, like, you just sit here. I do think it is a little bit slow, but whatever. It's, yeah, like, look at this before it turns in. It does give a full quest worth of XP. Like, I don't know. It's definitely, like, borderline whether or not that's actually worth doing. But enough people have told me that they think it's worth doing, and, you know, who am I to argue that much? If I already think it's kind of, like, on the fence, then I'll just fuck it, sure. Oh, I was gonna say, why is Astalor yapping? It's because the Prey objective directly overlaps... Oh, that is wild, actually. What would be fun is, if I don't finish my Prey shortly, I can, in theory, get this and get an extra 12k XP. That goes away, though, the moment that I actually finish the Prey. So, if I get ambushed, that would actually be kind of awkward, because then this extra world quest thing would be lost. So I don't want to defeat this ambush. It's kind of going to be hard to not, though. Like, I have to actively try to not kill the prey. They're going to just get cleaved down. This ambush, yeah. Oh, one of the weird situations where I would have rathered it didn't activate, but what are you going to do? I lose 12k XP, and I tried. The game just decided that that was the perfect time for an ambush, and it's, yeah, that's what it is. Oh, the funny thing here is there's another world quest. So I was wondering why it was down here. There was a world quest, and there was a prey quest, and then the regular quest requires me to kill a bunch of mobs here. There were like 3 things overlapping. That kind of worked out quite well. Then we do the Runestone quest. I need to be watching my XP pretty closely. So level 85 is the point at which I... where is my prey? Over there? That's fine. I can manage that. What I need to decide on now is how many side quests I'm going to do. I'd like to do the campaign up until Shadow Enclave. But I don't need to, technically. I need to loot them up. Right. So this is why a lot of times people say, like, why do you always loot mobs? It's because sometimes if I'm in the mindset of I need to not loot mobs to basically save time, then there's a quest where you do need to loot it, and then you can actually lose time. It's just easier to have one consistent set of muscle memory, and just go with that. Alright. So some of these quests as part of the campaign are a little bit slow. I messed up a little bit. This is one of those where, like, adapting can be a little bit tricky. I'm gonna go back for this. Especially because Orwania takes a little bit of time to do her roleplay anyway. But there's this quest over here that I forgot to do. Because obviously, I was blindly following the arrow, and I forgot that that is one of the objectives I picked up. But you can see, I mean, that, boom, done. Mob's dead. Easy peasy. And now, I'm going to fly over here, going to finish that quest. And you can see this runestone is already fully activated, because I did this in advance. So, I can wait Arator. Oh, Arator's a little bit slow. I'm gonna talk to him, pick this up. We're going to skip the conversation. Then do this. And now, the boss is just sitting here waiting to be killed. Now, I don't know how strong these bosses are relative to a leveling character. They're quite beefy. Gonna armor that. I hate. If you get a reset and you're tapping too quickly. So this still takes, like, a decent amount of time for me to kill. Now, the way to think about this is the time it takes me to kill this mob, this is 100k XP. So it is worth it. This mob has got fucking hands, though. Not gonna lie. I can finish off some of the ending with Todd. Dude, I don't know why. I press Rising Sun Kick once, but, like, I kind of tap my keys really quickly, and that's enough to sometimes trigger the double tap. We're close. Am I close enough to where... Yep, Todd, nice. Alright, so that for, yeah, a little over 100k, because obviously that's with the Warband bonus and Darkmoon Fair. Definitely worth it to do that. And on live servers, you won't even need to do that. Live servers, other people will probably be killing it. You wait for it to almost be dead, you walk in, you tag it, and boom. You're good to go. Alright, I think all other side quests from this point on in Eversong, I am not going to do. I think. I am We're at 1 hour. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I was curious whether sub 1 hour would be possible. I think, it might be with the 30% buff, but the problem is, like, everybody, all they think about is, oh, if you have, like, so much bonus experience, you can just turn in at level whatever, and then immediately hit the max level. It's like, well, yeah, but you still gotta do the delves, right? So, yes, it'll cut out a lot of the stuff after the fact, but the time it takes to do every single delve, like, that is still something. Will it reach a point where you don't even need to do this part of the campaign? Like, most likely, if I had 30% XP, at this point, I'd probably just break off and do, only Shadow Enclave. But I figure I need enough still, and this part of the campaign is not bad, right? To where, if I'm gonna do something, I may as well do this, because then I get the quest that directly overlaps with the campaign. So it's just worthwhile. But yeah. My goal for this run is sub hour and a half, which it's gonna be a little bit closer than I had hoped, but I think it is still possible. Probably. It's gonna be tight. It's gonna be very tight for sure. This. And then I think that is enough, right? Yeah. Then I talk to you. Then, oh, I was so fast that I actually didn't hit the trigger in my add-on to register it as complete. Sometimes that's what happens, right? I have no way to track specific little objectives like that. So, but it does override once the quest is complete. You can see it overrides to say, oh, I must have missed something, and then go to the end. All right. They're here. Talk to her. Move my warrior. Yeah. Okay. So after I do Shadow Enclave, it's gonna be a way for him to stop moving. Tell Lord Antinorian. I'm gonna do Shadow Enclave, then I'm gonna exit, I'm gonna do Prey. Then after the Prey, I'm gonna take the portal to Silvermoon. I'm gonna get the, just Todd that guy. Portal to Silvermoon, pick up Zulamon Prey. Then I'm going to get Regent's Request. That's another reason to continue doing the campaign. Regent's Request is a really good side quest chain, and it is locked behind the Shadow Enclave step of the main campaign. Yeah, the arrow is not tracking properly here because I was a little bit too far away. Hard to make this work completely perfectly, but it's fine. Do this, do that. I did get both quests, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, I need to... Oh, no, I was gonna say, I was a little bit too fast. Alright, talk to the citizen then. Trying to think through my routing, because I have... So, the problem with a run like this is until you actually sit down and do it and, like, put it into practice, like, I can theorize what the most efficient sets of quests are, but proximity and, like, prerequisites are also a big factor, which is why, like, you know, Regent's Request could be really good, but again, there is a prereq for it. So then I have to think about, like, okay, do I have enough experience left to do both of those? If I only had enough experience left to do just the campaign, then it would be a little bit tricky, because one of the main advantages of doing more of the campaign wouldn't be included. So then if we take that out of the equation, then it might no longer be one of the most efficient things that I could be doing, and it might be worth it to go onto something else. So, like, everything is shifting around. There's so many variables when it comes to World of Warcraft leveling, which is one of the reasons why I think it's so much fun. Like, planning the perfect route is really, 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 really tricky. And right now I'm trying to think ahead because I have a lot of like basically conditions plans of depending on what I run into with like what experience level I end up getting by the end of like this part of the route. There's some things that I could choose to do and not do. Because at level 85 is the cutoff point. Shit, I don't want to go here. I mean, it's whatever. But keep in mind, we're already almost at level 84, and I haven't done the final delves yet. Yeah, like, I haven't done a lot of the delves, and they give mob kill XP. Shit. And also, when I say level 85 is the cutoff, level 85 is not including South Royal Soiree. But honestly, there's a chance I might not even need to do this. Like, look, if I don't need to do this part of the campaign, then, like, it is what it is, and then I know for the next run, and then I can get even faster. The problem is, like, I can't change my mind later on. So if I overshoot, I overshoot. It is what it is. There's also a chance that, like, maybe you have so much XP you don't even need to do Perhelion Plaza. Though I think with the changes, with the buffs, it is more likely that Perhelion Plaza is just worth doing, and then you just need to figure out what else you don't include. And there's only a few more quests until I get to Shadow Enclave. So at this point, like, my decision-making at this point is, like, I'm already almost there. It's just, like, a bar or two remaining. But I'm not going to do that other side quest chain. I'm going to skip that. Fucking hitting a tree. So I'm only going to do this leg of the campaign, these next two quests, and then we get Shadow Enclave. But technically it's 3 quests, because there's one that's just 2 Death Home. Let's see. I do that. I do the prey immediately. The thing that I'm realizing, though, is I might not need to do Regent's Request. And if I don't need to do Regent's Request, then there is a case to be made of, like, I don't actually need to take the Prey Portal back to Silvermoon. Should I just go immediately into Zul'Aman and not do that Prey? Is it actually worth it? I don't know. It's, it's tricky for sure. Oh, come on. Why can't I click? And to this. A little bit of RP. Alright. 2 Death Home. We're definitely not doing the campaign beyond this point. That's not worth it. We are... Yeah, so we do this. This is also... So traders do. Yeah, this is one of the good ones. Move my warrior. Make sure it doesn't get logged out. Why it auto-locked onto that cockroach. But if my auto-attack has decided that it's going to kill the cockroach, I may as well Tiger Palm it. That's what it is. Unlucky for you, cockroach. Alright. Let's round this up. You... Ooh, I almost got feared inside of that that eyeball thing. I don't think that would have, like, yeah, it probably would not have come close to killing me, but little spooky. Would not have been fun. Get this now. And for this, you can pretty much just hold W and then just beeline for the rituals. The cultists will follow you, and you don't need to kill all of them. As long as you do this, that's all that matters. I'm gonna potion here. Alright. Make sure I at least get all the mobs chasing me. Valier is probably still going to get a lot of threat on those. Can do a spinning crane kick. See, I got a few mandate procs. Nice. And then I want to kill these ASAP so I can activate the this dude. Now, shit. I want to save Todd here for the one that gets summoned after. Nice. And let's do this. Wait for Fist of Fury. Is this in the eyeball? No, barely missed it. Oh well. Do yeah. What is that ability? Whirling Dragon Punch. Okay, I need to kill this Bob. It's very important that I have Todd for Lord Antinorian, which I believe I will, because he'll put like a little immunity on himself at certain points, which is really annoying. I'll deal with that later. Oh, I have enough health. Nice. Oh! Okay. Didn't matter. I do need to loot... Is it Antinorian or the chest? Doesn't look like I need to loot the chest. Yeah, I think I can just leave now. It's fine. Okay, good, good, good. So I'm 84. I don't think I do Suleiman at all. Yeah, I don't think I even bother doing Suleiman whatsoever. That's crazy that even without the 30%, I thought I was going to have to at least do parts of Suleiman. Obviously, if you don't have Darkwind Fair buff, if you don't have the Warband bonus, like, you can do Suleiman. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And the add-on will still have all of that part of the route, like, already included, ready to go. So that's one of the nice things about this. Like, as I add more things to Follow the Arrow, the existing things will still be there for anybody who falls a little bit behind. But a few people complain that, like, oh, the end of the route didn't give them enough XP. Well, now it 100% will. There is zero chance that you fall behind now. So now that I've done that prey, and I'm already down here, I can do a Talaman, and I can do Twilight Grips. And honestly, I'm going to do that up to, like, that'll probably get me to level 85. Almost got dismounted there. And then, if I'm not, like, level 85, when I get to Amanizar Village after doing these two delves, then... Wait, no, because it 100% will, right? Because I'm not even level 85 yet, and I haven't even done Perhelion Plaza and the Dark Way. So... Yeah. Yeah, so when I do Perhelion Plaza and the Dark Way, that would be enough XP to make up for the difference. Almost certainly. Alright, I need to... This one I'm not as used to running. The thing about a Talaman is kind of all of them are roughly the same speed. Shit, I got interrupted. That's really unfortunate. Alright, well now I need to kill these mobs. This one I don't really like, just because if you manage to get, like, proper CCs in the mobs, and you can get the totems and keep running, it's nice. But any sort of objective like this, which requires you to... I fucked that up so bad. That's fine, though, because I should be able to get this. Yeah. If you can do that and keep running, then it's fine. You're kidding me. And the issue with this is, a lot of times it's really hard to tell if you're safe or not. I right-clicked that, like, multiple times. It did not go. Just because of the bolts. So, right there, you can see. It looked like I was safe, and then, fucking bolt from downtown. Like here. Necrotic Bolt is almost certainly going to interrupt that, but... I get it. Nice. Okay. Taught that. Wow, okay. Mandate going off? Let's see. I need one more totem, and then I can just do a big pull and get the rest of the kill percent. Okay, I'm gonna LOS, that way it doesn't interrupt me. The boss is up on this pavilion, I believe, if memory serves. This is the one where it spawns up here. So, okay, unlucky. Here's dead, somehow. Missing. Die, please. I don't want to Todd, because I want to have that for the boss. There we go. Should have saved cooldowns, at least. But I probably won't need... do that. Let's do this. Todd. Nice. And then the other mob just bled out or something. I think Valera killed it. I did pick up Delver's Call, right? Pretty sure I got that at the entrance. Yeah, I have it. Okay, nice, nice. I'm completely going off all the arrow at this point, but you know, that's what you gotta do. Then I do Twilight Crypts next. Might be able to make it. It's gotta be close. It's gonna be really close, but... How do I... I might end up being like 1 hour 40 minutes. Might be the time. Honestly, I mean, this is still a really good run. Like 1 hour, sub 1 hour 30 was like a... I think this is possible. And I definitely still think it's possible. Like, if I had known how much this was going to give, I might have done a slightly different route. I think instead of doing the end of that Eversong campaign segment, what I probably would have done is gone to Zul'Aman early and tried to get, like, Zul'Aman Prey done alongside those side quests. That would have been slightly faster. But I don't know. We're, like... It's really difficult at a certain point to save a meaningful amount of time. Let's just actually Todd him. We can continue. There's a Ritual Mask here. This gives you bonus damage. Gonna launch myself. Okay, I need to just beeline... Is there... I can't remember if there's a lever in there. There's not. There's a lever... This is also one of the variants I'm not used to speedrunning yet. This is where the lever is. I normally, like, I do my runs on Calamitous Day. This is the first time I've actually tried to do this, where I start on Calamitous and then do the day after that. The main reason I'm doing that is because the variant on this daily delve cycle for Parhelion Plaza is significantly faster than the alternatives. So, the real outliers are Calamitous for Shadowguard is significantly faster than any of its other versions. There's a few where, like, there is one day that has a really bad one. Like, Mirror Shine is an outlier in a bad way for, what's it called? Shadow Enclave. So you ideally... Fuck. You ideally don't want to do it on that day. And... then the only other really, really, really big outlier where, like, this is so much worse is Parhelion Plaza holding the line versus everything else. I did remember to get Delver's Call, right? Okay, I did. I'm gonna have to kill all these mobs, otherwise it won't let me do Leave Delve. It's fine, I'll kill XP. Not that I really need a lot extra. Okay. How do I want to do this? Okay. I know. Do this. And then this combined with one Delver's Call should barely put me into the next level. Yeah, if I didn't do that, then this would be giving me level 84 XP. And then I think I Hearth. Look, if I'm wrong, if I fuck this up, I wormhole generator to Zulaman, and I just do more side quests here. If I miscalculated. But I think we're fine. I think. Shit. My warrior... what I need to do on warrior right now is I need to generate a wormhole and head to Harldan and preload that. So I don't get a long load screen. Alright, we're gonna do... did I re-enable it? No, just do that. Alright. At this point, it's faster to just fly than, like, our Cantina key from here. My warrior's still on a Harrandar loading screen, by the way, to give you an idea of how fucking slow this is. In the time it took me to do all of that, still loading. Still loading. The bar has not even started to fill. Right, we don't have Dark Way yet. So that's 86. And then now I should have waited. I should have waited to turn that in. It's fine. I'm one level weaker, but actually the irony is it really won't matter at all, just because I wanted to know where I was at in terms of mob kill or mob XP. Harrandar just loaded in. Yeah, so I'm honestly so glad I decided to do that. Sure, do that. Something a lot of people haven't realized yet. Also, you'll notice here, it's hard to tell. I was going to duck out of the way. You can see, look at the amount of XP that I got from this. So that barely pushed me over into level 86, and then I got XP for it. I lost a little bit on that first turn in, but it's only about 2k. So a lot of people don't understand the reason why we do this strategy of turning the delves in at the very end. I've seen a lot of misinformation of people saying, like they know that you're supposed to do it, but they don't know why, so they just make shit up. And people say, oh, well, they give way more XP. It's like, well, yeah, everything gives more XP. Everything scales. That is not why we do it. And then in Fall the Arrow, I have a note that basically says, like, when you're worried about certain level ranges, like you can see what I did in Zulaman, I made it so I barely hit level 85 before doing the turn-in. That way I got an extra 3k, roughly, it's like 2.5k XP per level. So I got slightly more XP. That is still a fairly minuscule amount. Now, obviously, every little bit counts, so you want to be mindful of that type of thing. That's just something, it's good practice to be thinking about that for just speed leveling in general, if you want to get better at this. So that's why, obviously, I do it in my speedruns, and it's why I put little notes about it in Fall the Arrow. But the main reason why we do all this stuff and wait until later is just because it's really, really, really slow to do delves at higher levels when your scaling is really bad. The thing about this is you're actually watching me do delves effectively with bad scaling because I'm scaled... Well, actually, now I'm scaled to item level 170. Now the scaling is finally caught up. So It's a little bit better now, thankfully. So this actually, I think now, because I waited, the irony is, or because I waited to do these later, I am a little bit, tiny bit stronger because of the scaling. Except I lost a lot of time early on in the run, because those delves would have been, like, basically twice as fast if I had had really good gear, because I'd be nearly one-shotting every single mob. But in this run, it actually took me time to kill stuff, because I was scaled to, like, item level 80 for, like, the first 2 levels, because of Blizzard's stupid PTR scaling thing. On live servers, that's not a thing. It's just whatever item level you have, and because of the way that these level 81 crafted items work, they start off at item level 178. In this case, they're scaled down, by the way, so I'm not just getting completely free stats across the board from this. The scaling is still not, like, fully favorable, but think about it like this way. Blizzard thinks that the average person is doing those delves at item level 90. That is why their scaling modifier that they have in place on the beta, or the PTR, scales you down to item level 90. And if you're doing them with, like, even remotely good gear, like greens that you bought off the auction house, or the crafted stuff, which everybody should do because it's, like, dirt cheap, then you're effectively doing it, like, 50 item levels higher than what Blizzard tuned it around. So the mobs just die really quickly. So you're able to clear them faster, which obviously means you level faster. So that's the main reason that we wait until the very end. Other thing is that in this particular case, because the delves are all very easy to turn in, like they're all in a fairly compact location, it becomes very easy to just go around and do all the turn-ins one after another. Something that a lot of people don't realize who maybe didn't do as many leveling runs in War Within, which, considering the fact that, like, my Druid run early in the expansion already has, like, more views than my War Within leveling guide ever got, which is wild, by the way. But it goes to show, for me at least, that not as many people were familiar with the route that I developed for War Within, and I had really fast War Within runs. They still did well, which at the time I was like, oh yeah, these are performing well. Then, of course, the Druid run kind of blew the lid off any expectations I had. But a lot of people who maybe didn't play then don't remember how it was done. In War Within, I never did the whole big delve turn-in at the end, because delve turn-ins were at, like, random fucking locations in the middle of nowhere. So it was not worth it to go and do, like, a big turn-in at the end, because you would have lost so much time with travel time that any time that you were losing from, like, the mobs taking slightly longer to kill, you know, you wouldn't really save that by doing a big turn-in. Now, I did try to turn in some of them at the end when it made sense. Like, I saved some of the ones in Dornegal, I saved a lot of the ones in Azj-Kahet until the very end, and turned all those in last second. And I tried to do everything before doing that final turn-in. So I skipped, like, the last level or two, roughly. So I did something kind of similar. There were obviously more delves in War Within, though. So there were times where you would do a delve, and you would just immediately turn in the Delver's Call quest. It wasn't like Gospel that you had to do it in one particular way. So here... yeah, this will definitely be enough. There is honestly a case to be made of... oh yeah, I have to load in Isle of Qualdanas, so... I'm trying to coast as long as I can. The one nice thing about these loading screens being a little bit longer is if you have enough momentum, you can kind of, like, carry it over so you don't lose quite as much time. But obviously, if you're taking, like, a portal, like Harrandar, that's just a, you know, flat amount of time. Okay. And then, yeah, holding the line, this is definitely faster by a metric fuck ton than any of the other ones. It's going to take a little while to load. And then after this, we do the turn-in and, like, crafting and stuff, and then we're done. Okay, what do we have? We have daggers today. All right. I'm going to do big pull up here. Whoa. I don't have my damage meter running, but I'm pretty sure my either I got a million mandate procs or the daggers hit really hard. I guess we'll find out in a little bit. Okay. All right, mandate. Goddamn. Okay, yeah, the daggers just hit extremely hard. This is one of the reasons why holding the line is really good. It's very fast, and then you get these things which just do crazy damage. I wonder if this is because of... it might be, like, an artifact of the scaling. Now, normally, the daggers are really good. There's a reason why I picked them up. They are my personal favorite, I think, though the longbow... I really like the longbow because it does really good single target damage, and a lot of times, if you're already really good at doing AoE damage, then having the longbow to speed up the single target stuff can be really nice. But today the longbow wasn't an option, and I see daggers, I take daggers. We'll do daggers again. Nice, and then I need 2 more barricades, and I'll be able to get that by doing this, and then there's one up there. Nice. Roll missed sub 130, but it's been a good run. I'm happy with this. At the very least, I completely smoked my time from last month. Now, I didn't have Darkwind Fair in that last run. Honestly, my Druid run was kind of fucking crazy. For not having Darkwind Fair, I actually think it's kind of a miracle I got a time that fast. That's a little bit wild. And we're going to be able to beat this quite easily once we get the Turbulent Timeways buff regardless. So, doesn't really matter. I can Todd now, and well, it should have one-shot. Nice. It doesn't really matter at this point. I Arcantina key. Make sure my warrior doesn't lag out. Arcantina key. Then I'm going to do the turn-ins. And should be enough, I think. Also, you know, as I sit here and do the final turn-ins and stuff, I have been streaming a decent bit more often, mostly leveling runs and stuff, but I'm also doing a challenge where I'm trying to get, well, I'm doing basically a 0 to hero on every single healer all at once on European servers. And the end goal of that is I am trying to get cutting edge on Europe as a healer, because normally on North America, my guild is currently World 56, and I play tank for that. But I would really like to be able to say that I have experience playing other stuff as well. And so healer is a role that I've always wanted to really get into, so I'm pushing myself to learn it a little bit more often. So I've been streaming that a little bit more. If that is something that you think might be interesting, watching a tank main learn how to heal, and I'm trying to actually learn how to play it. I want to get really good at it. That's the idea. But we'll see whether or not I'm successful in that. And then also, I've been streaming my raids more often on North America, that is. So my North American guild is going to try and go in and, I don't know if we're going to one-shot it, but we're going to try and kill Sporefall basically the moment the North American servers come up. So I'll probably stream that and then our re-clear and stuff after. So that'll be obviously on Tuesday. I have a few other videos coming out over the next few days for 12.0.7 stuff. I'm going to have a little mini guide basically talking about the updates to Follow the Arrow and all of the information that you'll see in the speedrun, like all of the important changes and whatnot. I'm going to try and summarize that in like a little mini guide. That way, anybody who doesn't watch the run will still be able to understand what's going on. And that will be probably also like on Tuesday or Monday night or so. And then obviously, should go without saying, that Follow the Arrow will be fully updated for all these changes. And I am currently in the process of working on the Alliance and Horde 1 to 80 routes. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to like work on them zone by zone. And then as I finish them, I'm going to upload them for Patreon supporters to help test out. And then once the entire thing is complete and people have tested it and like, you know, any bugs I've been able to fix, then I'm hoping that by the end of July, I want to have it published. So that will be the goal. If you want to help test it early, I mean, like, it's not necessarily early access, right? Like, I don't want to put anything behind a paywall. That's never the goal. So it's probably going to be rough. You're probably going to be helping bug fix, but you know, a lot of people have been like really, really, really dying to have access to that right now. So you might be able to do it a little bit early, provided you're willing to deal with some bugs and, well, I mean, provide feedback to help the add-on get better. I figure that's a nice way to handle that. I'm going to be doing that over the course of the Why can't I? I can only learn... Do I already have a profession? Right, yeah, I have engineering, because I probably used that to level this character at some point back in Khazalgar. And then we're going to... why is engineering... I'm trying to do this. Right. Probably, I've already, because I had to fumble around with the menuing, lost time doing these crafts. That's what it is. I also forgot to use my aerated file of quick hands. I'll do that now, just because, like, I should have done that. What are you gonna do? First craft, and then let's do this first craft, and then that's the last of it. And then we're going to... Oh, I'm too close to the profession table. And now I do Voidstorm first, and then Harrandar. Do Voidstorm, we turn in Born Killer, and I'm out of coffee. Perfect timing. I ran out of coffee right at the end of the run. Shit, I accidentally dismounted. Do this, Born Killer. Then we're going to turn in this stuff. Then level 89. And we head to Harrandar. I think I'm going to overshoot slightly. Is what it is. Like I said, I think sub 130 already would have been possible. Now, I am far enough off it that I'm not too upset about that, because I think that I would have probably had to do a lot of practice runs to make sure that the route was, like, streamlined enough to get it to that point. To where, like, I could actually reliably get it. Yeah, oh, okay. I really overshot. Goddamn. I'm not even gonna... Yeah. I'm not gonna get full value out of, Abundance, and then I'm not even gonna turn in Grudge Pit. Honestly, though, I'd rather overshoot than undershoot and, like, have to scramble to get extra things. Really, what I probably could have done... this is, by the way, this is when we turn in Abundance, because we do here, and then obviously we turn it in here, and then that's time. Let me just... Boop. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. We still had an entire 190k XP left over. That is, kind of wild. Kind of fucking wild. Why is there a second quest? Is this... Oh, there's a separate quest for max level as well. Cool. So you can do both. I was never really sure about that. So obviously I overshot. I think what I probably should have done is Eversong campaign up until basically the where you go to Tranquillion, right? That's the point where I probably should have stopped. And I should have just gone straight to Shadow Enclave. I think I didn't need those quests, and they slowed me down a little bit. If I had cut those, probably I could have gotten sub 130. It's iffy, though. But remember what I was saying, like, if I don't need... if I don't end up doing Regent's Request, then I don't need Eversong Campaign. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But, I mean, this is fast, right? It's pretty fast, no matter what. So I can't really complain all too much, and this is not even with Turbulent Timeways. So, oh yeah, something that I probably... It doesn't really matter for this, but I know I'm going to get questions about it, and I have mentioned Turbulent Timeways at least a little bit. Turbulent Timeways buffs everything. Everything. Not just Time Walking Dungeons. You have to do Time Walking Dungeons to get the buff, but then it is a universal buff. So, a lot of people think that when Turbulent Timeways is active, you're just going to spam Turbulent or Time Walking Dungeons to level up. No. You're going to do 4 Time Walking Dungeons, you're going to get the 30% buff, and then you're going to do this. Now, that is a lot easier to implement for 1 to 80 leveling, because already in my routes from 10 to 20, we do TBC Chromie Time Dungeons, so you can just replace that with Time Walking Dungeons. You have 30% buff for the entire rest of the route. You don't need to do a single extra dungeon unless you need to refresh it, at which point you do 1 more Time Walking Dungeon, the buff goes back up to 3 hours, boom, you're good to go. That will be very easy to route in, because then you just do exactly this that I already did for 70 to 80, or 80 to 90. And then, I don't know, what do you cut? It's so hard to think, like, what would you even cut out of this? It's so fast. Definitely, you cut the latter part of Eversong. I'm trying to think, like, on one hand, you could justify cutting out the side quests in Voidstorm, but they're good. And the prey... But, like, I do wonder, though, if you can't do Voidstorm, would it be worthwhile to instead do Zulaman and then do the prey in Zulaman? But honestly, that flowed really well. I don't know if I just got lucky or maybe... Because I've never seen that prey location before, so presumably that can only activate for normal prey. So maybe, always when you do normal prey, that is the location. I normally don't do it, because it's never been relevant outside of, like, the first 4 that you do. So if you can consistently set that up, and you can reliably get that prey to spawn exactly right there, I mean, that is perfect with the route. It does not get better than that. So I feel like there's no way you don't include that. And then, like, is there ever a world where you don't do a delve? I mean, in this case, literally I didn't have to do a delve. I could have not done Parhelion Plaza and been fine. But then, where is the cutoff of, like... If you're going to cut a delve, it's going to be Parhelion Plaza, by the way, 100%. Holding the line, if you get it, the one that I just did, like, that's pretty fast. That was a pretty good delve. But keep in mind, we had to travel, like, an entire minute just to get there. So that adds time. That is relevant downtime. And the fact that normally, it is the only delve that is, like, its best variant is on that day, that normally you'll want to level on the Calamitous Day. And on the Calamitous Day, Parhelion Plaza is terrible. So unless you do something like this, where you start in one day, do the daily reset, and do another one... Now, for speedruns, I don't know what I'm going to do, but speedruns do not reflect the average player's experience, but there is absolutely a case to be made for you just don't do Parhelion Plaza at all. The problem is there's no other delve that's really worth cutting. Maybe, like, Shadow Enclave Mirror Shine? Maybe? I don't know. I'm trying to think, is there any other one that I wouldn't want to do? Ironically, Grudge Pit. Grudge Pit's kind of slow. And it is the one that we had to fly all the way out here for, so... the nice thing about Grudge Pit, though, is Grudge Pit ends up not feeling quite as bad now, because you have the Legends of the Heronir into those 3 quests, but then also those 3 quests aren't always going to be there. That's another thing, right? If I did not have those 3 quests, I would have been down 80k XP. Ballpark. Or what was it, 60k? You get the idea. I would have been a little bit below. I probably would have at least not overshot with Abundance, and then I would have gotten enough with Grudge Pit. I still probably would have overshot with Grudge Pit, though. So, I don't know, but, like, these were definitely worth doing, because all the 3 of them were up. But if you don't have this, then there's a little bit more wiggle room. So, the nice thing about this version of the route is you have to pick what is not worth doing out of the good stuff that already exists. There is too much good stuff now to fit into a single route. You already hit max level. If you don't have the Warband bonus, then you get to do all of it, which it just kind of works out well. But if you do have the bonus, then you're picking from what is the best possible thing that I can do. And that's always a good position to be in. You're always happy about that. So, at the very least, I don't think I'll have a single person ever saying that they fell short of, like, the recommended route and had to do bonus side quests. That's the thing of the past now. So that is a relief for me, at the very least. But yeah, I could sit here and yap, obviously, for a very long time if I really needed to. But I have to get this uploaded. I have to edit it. I'll end by saying, again, I mentioned before that if you want to help test and stuff, you know, help support on Patreon and stuff. So I will put up on screen, where would it be? It would be somewhere up here. My hand is kind of disappearing into the void. But big thank you to my Patreon supporters, the testers, who presumably will be able to help test. I know some of them told me that they aren't as interested in testing. They just wanted to help support. So obviously, you know, extra super duper thank you to those people. But to everybody who supports on Patreon. But yeah, that's something that I was going to edit in anyway. I wanted to make sure, because this is a main channel video, that I put that in there. And it works out well because I also wanted to do the little preamble and, like, yap session at the start to explain what the hell it is that I'm even doing, because it's going to be difficult for me to, or would have been difficult for me to record all that. And as you saw, we barely made it to Calamitous in time as is, but it all worked out. Overall, pretty happy with this run. I have been extremely stressed putting it up. That's another thing. I'm going to put a behind the scenes video up on Patreon for people who support on there, and showcase all the testing and whatnot that led up to the creation of this route, and a lot of, like, the little Follow the Arrow updates behind the scenes, and that'll probably be a bonus, I don't know, like 6-hour long video, however long it's going to be. I've recorded a lot of footage over the last month for that, but that's another thing that I throw up on Patreon. But yeah, again, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy this route, and I hope you are able to level up, hopefully as fast as I am, or close to it, once 12.0.7 drops. Definitely, I think a lot of people will find that 2 hours is going to be a pretty consistent time for them. This is a pretty big buff, bigger than I thought, but I mean, this is pretty reasonable. My previous round, 2 hours, 17 minutes. This is like shaving off 30-ish minutes. That's definitely good, but I don't know. It's not like earth-shattering. Turbulent Timeways will definitely make it a little bit crazy, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it later this month. I'll have a video covering specifically Turbulent Timeways when that is a thing. But keep in mind, yeah, you will be getting the buff and then questing. I'm going to stop myself. I could yak forever. But yeah, thank you for watching again, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.